Good morning, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube friends. Thank you so much for watching. We are going to get started in just a minute. Good morning, Saturday, April 19th, 9 a.m. I'm here in southeastern Michigan, a wet morning. We've been blessed with a lot of rain the past week. Actually, the whole country has for that matter. So hope everybody is doing well and is safe and dry as can possibly be. My name is John Collins. Once a month, I do my credit repair webinars. So the goal here today is to combat some of the credit challenges that people are experiencing. Right now, we're seeing credit scores deteriorate at a rate that's actually surpasses what we ran into back from 2004 to 2008 before the great meltdown, as we call it. So, like I said, I'm here in southeastern Michigan, and I am finding in my small corner of the world that credit scores are deteriorating at an extremely rapid rate. The good news is there are a lot of tools and techniques to turn those around very quickly. So a lot of the people that I'm blessed to work with are being connected with different down payment assistance and grant programs, and more often than not are about 30, 60, 90 days away from just a few maneuvers to get a quick spike in their credit scores. So that's what we're going to focus on today. So who is today designed for? Well, it's for people, like I said, whose credit scores are between 5 to 600. Our goal is to get you up in the strike zone where you can qualify for some of these DPA programs and grants that are out there. Or if you have no credit scores, or if you have some of the big things that people think push them outside the box, like bankruptcy, repossession, collections, we're going to tell you how to handle those so you can use good practical tools to deal with them. Sometimes common sense does not prevail when it comes to working with your credit, unfortunately. So, and we're going to go over that in detail in a few minutes, or just anyone who wants to understand the mortgage industry and how credit applies to it with regards to some of the credit hurdles. So now, why do we do this? Well, right now, I do it because the rental market is out of control across the country. So we're seeing rents, they're finally stabilizing a little bit, but still the rental market is in tough shape from what you get for your money. So there's a lot of shady landlords, to say the least, out there. So and with those shady landlords, I find that people are not getting a quality product. And oddly enough, many of the people that I work with can get payments that are below what they pay in rent. I was fortunate enough to actually had a couple of closings yesterday. They were actually both. One was East Side Detroit, one was West Side. And both people ended up closing with payments well below what they're paying in rent. One was a $150,000 purchase, and I think her payment is coming in just under $700. She was able to tap into the Tobias Harris program for about $60,000. So she got a huge down payment on that. And then the other one was on the west side, between Rosedale Park and Old Redford area. And that one we tapped into the state of Michigan $10,000 down payment assistance program. And their payments came in, I think it was about $900 for about $130,000 purchase on that one. So well below what you're paying in rent. Right now, the average 2-bedroom apartment across the country is $1,350 a month. And right here in southeastern Michigan, we're at $1,300 a month. So anytime we can, purchase a home with just a few $1,000s out of pocket and get in with less than what you would pay in rent, for me, that's a huge win. So, always up for teaching people on that. And also, there's a lot of misinformation out in the marketplace too, that these programs are tough to get in or they're expensive. I can't tell you how many people put posts out on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, saying that these down payment assistance have higher interest rates. There are over 3,000 down payment assistance programs across the country. In fact, let me navigate away from here. I was going to do this a little bit later, but we've developed an application called Zero Down Scout, where we actually have 3,000 down payment assistance programs. You can pick this up on the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. There are a high percentage of programs on here that don't have higher interest rates. Okay, there's no interest rate associated with them. They're grant money, they're down payment assistance money where there's no payments tied to it. So you just own the home for 3, 5, 7 years and you get to keep all the money. So, for example, Miami, Florida has $200,000. New York has $260,000. I found one area on the islands in New York where it was $350,000. LA has $160,000. So there is tremendous amounts of money all over the country. The one that I closed on yesterday, the Tobias Harris program in Detroit, $75,000 in down payment assistance money. Okay. You never make a payment on it, no interest on it. But when you sell the house, they want their money back. So you get free use of their money. But a lot of these programs, as long as you own it for 3, 5, 7 years, you get to keep all the money. So all kinds of programs out there. Download my app, Zero Down Scout, and play with it. You'll see all the programs that are available where you are. Just enter a zip code or address, and it'll guide you from there. So, all right. Also, like I said, people are overpaying for credit, be it credit cards, auto loans. I mean, 25, 30% interest rate on autos and credit cards is absolutely insane. So if we can get you into the strike zone where you can pay less for credit, we're all about it. So our goal with this webinar today is to get your credit scores up 60 points in 60 days. So we're going to help you identify areas that are ripe for quick impact on your credit report. So we're going to teach you how to identify those areas. We're also going to help you add new credit if you have no credit or need to build things. And we're going to give you some reasonable goals and predictable, successful timelines of how long it takes to get these things done. These things can get done rather quickly, okay? 30, 60, 90 days. And it's not uncommon for me to get somebody that's in the mid 500s above 600 in 60 days. That's easy with some of the tools we're going to show you today. All right. Oops. Next topic. Where are we here? All right. Okay. So first thing I want to go over are the industry, the 3 credit bureaus, what determines your credit scores, and how to handle some of the big baggage that tends to trip people up. First thing. Credit scores. Credit scores come from, there's actually more than 3 credit bureaus, but the mortgage world focuses on the 3 big boys, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Okay. Typically, they have credit scores that are going to run anywhere between 300 to 850. That's the range. Okay. So all we're trying to do is get you to 600. Okay. 600 and above. And although there are programs right now where I can get people done all the way down to a 540 credit score. So don't let it scare you. If your credit score is low, just implement some of the techniques we're going to teach you today, or schedule a call with me. I mean, I'm all about helping people, coach them up with phone calls too. So take me up on that. So ideally, for the programs that we work with, they are going to look, they meaning the mortgage world, is going to look at the middle credit score. Okay. Now, ideally, they are looking at the FICO scoring models 2, 3, 4, 5, and I understand 9 is introduced now too. So those are the FICO scoring models. So if you go out to Credit Karma, that's not going to be the FICO scoring model. Okay. So we want to only focus on the FICO scores. And ideally, we want to get your score to be 600 to 640 to start getting you in that area where we can start tapping into the most amount of programs or most amount of money that is out there. So most creditors, keep in mind, only report to 1 or 2 of the 3 credit bureaus. Not very many creditors report to all 3. And the reason that is the creditors pay to push that data out there. So you only see, maybe if you're using a credit building tool, a lot of times they will pay to go out to all three bureaus. So if you do engage with some credit building tools, make sure they are reporting to all three credit bureaus. Otherwise, move on to another one. Now, I want to teach you how to isolate for a quick spike on those middle scores and your high score. So keep in mind, if they're picking the middle score, that low one doesn't matter. So if you've got a 500 low credit score and then a 400 middle and a 600 middle and then a 620 middle, your middle score is 600. They do not average them. They take that middle score, at least for the majority of the programs that I work with. So what goes into a credit score? There are 5 components. There are 3 that we really have control over. Okay. Number 1, payment history. Ideally, we don't want to see any late payments in the last 12 months. Now, if you have an isolated late payment, as long as it's not within the last 6 months, you're in a good spot. If you do have any late payments and it's a credit card or creditor you've had for a while, give them a call, pick up the phone, reach out, say, hey, I'm shocked. I didn't realize my car payment was late last month. What can we do to, work this out or possibly get it removed? Chances are the first person you talk to is going to say, sorry, there's nothing I can do. Then you know what? Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Can I please speak with a supervisor? That next layer is where they have some discretion with regards to working with you. Now, if you are habitually late, more than 2 or 3 late payments, they're probably not going to do anything. I had a lady last month that has 60-day late with Toyota Motor Credit. Toyota reduced the 60-day to a 30-day because she'd been with them for 3 years, and it was just an isolated incident, and we were able to get her approved. Okay, so it never hurts to ask. It never hurts to call them. And I will tell you also, if with payment history, if you have any collections out there, do not pay the collections off blindly. And I'm going to go over to that in some detail in a few minutes, but I like to echo that because that's an area that trips people up quite often. So 35% of what goes into your credit score or into the credit score algorithms is based on your payment history. 30% is based on your credit utilization. And credit utilization is just what you owe in relationship to what your credit limit is. So if you have a credit card with a $1,000 limit and you owe $500, that's a 50% utilization. Ideally, we want your utilization to be below 30%. Okay. And if you are in the position to pay your credit cards down, don't pay them down to 0. Leave a few dollars on it. I'm finding that if you leave $10 balance on your card, your score will be a point or 2 higher than if you pay it down to 0. Okay, so keep that in mind. And it may not seem like a lot, but 1 point can be the difference between tens of thousands of dollars. So, for example, the program that we did yesterday, Tobias Harris program, $75,000, 620, you're in. 619, you're out. So it can be a game of inches when it comes down to it. So with regards to utilization, I'm finding this is where we're getting the biggest lift for consumers right now. So if you have a $1,000 credit card and you owe $1,000, you're getting hit pretty hard because it's maxed out. It's 100% utilization. If you're able to pay that down below 30%, we're seeing the biggest lift in credit scores that I've ever seen. Right now, I'm seeing people get a 30 to 40 point lift on paying cards that are maxed out down below 30%. And the only reason I can, in my opinion, that that's happening is that right now we're seeing credit scores plummet. So in this real, artificial intelligence, real-time environment that we live in, I can only surmise that if you have the ability to pay down your credit cards in an environment where credit default rates are skyrocketing like they are right now, they're considering you a better credit risk. And as a result, the algorithms are rewarding you handsomely for paying your credit cards down. Okay. Now, if you have fixed debts, don't pay them off. If you have a car loan with 2 or 3 payments on it, paying them off quickly is not going to help you. Okay, so don't prematurely pay things off. We'll cover that in a few minutes too. So that's 30% credit card of what goes into your credit card. What goes into the algorithms is based on your utilization. That's 30%. Now, length of credit history is another component. 15% of what goes into your credit scores is based on your credit history. So if you have accounts that are sitting on your credit report from years ago, don't close them. You close them, you're going to lose a trade line. Your credit scores can go down. Okay. I had someone a few months ago had an old JCPenney card they forgot all about, paid off, not showing anything. She closed it. Her scores went down 30 points. It was one of only 3 trade lines that she had. So please do not close old trade lines. Don't close anything without the advice, without having the advice of a professional. And when I say professional, there are several lenders that I work with that can actually take your credit and run it through credit simulators to tell you exactly what will happen with every single maneuver. Okay. So length of credit history matters. And like I said, do not pay your loans off early. Okay. Unless it's at the advice of someone that's already run your credit through a credit simulator. All right. Next item. How to handle some big impacting items with regards to credit. Student loans is a big topic right now. If your student loans are deferred, we will need to pull those out of deferment. Chances are we'll try to get an income-based repayment solution to get a low payment for you. Now, if your payments are in forbearance, which isn't happening too often right now, they're actually getting pulled out after the way Washington's clamped down on that. So not running into that too often. Default, I'm running into this quite a bit right now. If your student loans are in default, this is actually an opportunity to flip the script quite easily. So if you call your student loan servicing company, pull your loans out of default, put them on maybe an income-based repayment plan, they have basically a fresh start program that's out there right now. And what it is if you make your student loan payments on time for 90 days, they will flip the negative information on your credit report to a positive. So if you are at a, let's say 550 credit score because your credit card or because your student loans are in default, and you set them up on an income-based repayment plan on the Fresh Start program, after you've made 3 payments, it's going to go from default to showing as paid agreed on your credit report. I've had people's credit scores flip 100 points from that because it's now going from a negative to paid as agreed, positive. Okay. So student loans can be turned around in a timely fashion or rather quickly. Repossessions. If you have any type of repossessions on there, which I see quite often, people co-sign for friends or family members and they don't make the payments and people get saddled with it, or people buy cars on B lots and, after a couple of weeks, the engine goes and, nobody wants to pay for a car that's not running. I get that. So they hand them back. So if you are dealing with or have a repossession on your credit, there's a couple of different ways to handle it. Number one, if it's reasonable amount, what we can do is try to reestablish some payment terms on it. Okay. And then get you qualified for a loan based on those repayment terms or negotiate the balance down. There are a few other advanced techniques that I would say if you have those, please schedule a call with me. Always happy to give you my advice with regards to how to move forward on that side. Excuse me 1 second. I've got someone on my Facebook feed that thinks that this is a political climate. So I appreciate your thoughts, understand your free expression, but no time for that. Thank you. Repossessions. Please call me. Always happy to go over your specific situation, put myself in your shoes and give you some advice on that side. If you happen to deal with a bankruptcy, Chapter 7 or 13, not the end of the world, okay? bankruptcies happens. It is a tool. Okay. If you are in a rough spot, I look at your personal life like a business. Every now and then I tell people bankruptcy is actually a good option. And as much as it does take 2 years to get things turned around so we can get you in a position to purchase using some of these down payment assistance and grant programs, as much as 2 years sounds like a long time, it really flies by. Okay. So it's important to build credit after a Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is when you wipe the slate clean. So great tools out there right now where you can get credit cards right after a bankruptcy, loans, credit building tools. And I'm going to go over a bunch of tools in just a few minutes. It's very important after a bankruptcy that you have no late payments. Late payments on your credit after a bankruptcy, you get penalized. The algorithms that generate credit scores are smarter than ever. Okay. They know when you've had a bankruptcy, they basically know you just got to pass on all of your debts on a Chapter 7. So if you just went through a Chapter 7 and then have late payments within a couple of years, they actually crush your score. So after a bankruptcy, we can add some of the tools. I can get somebody up to a 700 plus credit score 12 months after a bankruptcy. That's actually fairly easy because the algorithms know you just got to pass and they want to give you credit because you can't do a bankruptcy for another 7 to 10 years. But if you have any late payments, boom, your scores will come crashing down. The other types of bankruptcy, a Chapter 13, that's when you put all of your debts together, negotiate the balances down, and you repay a bankruptcy trustee that's appointed by the bankruptcy court. For that type of bankruptcy, you can purchase while you're in the repayment of the bankruptcy, but you can't do it till 1 year of on-time payments are made to the trustee. Okay. And the most important part, and this is what really trips people up, is collections. So I always tell people, if you have collections showing up on your credit report and they're over 2 years old, leave them alone. Okay. The reason this trips people up is the damage is already done. Okay. If you take an old, and here's a perfect situation, you move from one house to another and you don't return the cable box. Made that mistake myself. Well, not that they're even going to use the cable boxes. I feel like they throw them out after a couple of years. The technology is no good, but they're not bashful about putting a couple $100 collection on your credit. So from there, if it's over 2 years old and you pay it, you're reactivating it. It's going to show up on your credit next month as collection paid. Boom, your credit scores are going to go tanking. Okay. So don't pay off those old collections. If they're below $500, I find a lot of times they're letting them go. If they're medical, doesn't matter. Okay. Please leave them alone. If it's under 600, it shouldn't even show up on your credit. If it's above, then we have to deal with those on a case-by-case basis. Many times if they're medical, they're not asking for those to be paid unless they're above $2,500. Okay. And then with the collections, if they're 1 to 2 years old, we want to run them through a simulator and figure out what's going to be the best way to attack those. If it's a recent collection, you can actually pay those off and possibly see your scores go up. They're not going to go back up to where they were before the collection hit your account, but your scores might retrace 50%. So if the collections are less than a year old, schedule a call. We can go over those on a case-by-case basis. And with that being said, let me give you a link to my calendar. So I've got a couple of people requesting calls. So let me put this in the chat box here. Okay. Right there. And let's go back. Sorry, I'm running solo today. So let me. Okay, here's a link to my calendar. OwnTheRoof.com/book a call. You can always reach me through my website, Own the Roof. That's where I have all of my free content. If you want a copy of either one of my books that I've written, coaching people on credit, coaching people on how to get down payment assistance programs. It's all for free out on my website, owntheroof.com. We typically will have a list of my upcoming webinars and all the other different tools that we do offer and counseling. So next item we want to go into my steps. Okay, so this is actually the steps that I do when I look at a credit report. The first thing you want to do is you want to go out to annualcreditreport.com and get your credit report. Okay. If you do have a few dollars, get the 3 FICO scores. It's well worth it. Pay for it. You'll know exactly where you stand. And then we want to look at your 2 highest credit scores. Okay. Those are the credit reports we want to focus on. Okay. Remember I said earlier, most creditors only report to 1 or 2 of the credit bureaus. So you've got 3. So not every credit report is going to be different. Okay. What we want to do is focus on the middle and the high scores and look for what's going to get us that quick lift. Okay. What's driving it down? Is it late payments, collections, utilization? Okay. Utilization, like I said, that's the easiest thing to manipulate. And we do need to have at least 2 or 3 trade lines that are showing some type of activity over the last 12 months. Okay. So ideally, we want to look at your new credit, old credit, and if we need to add any alternative trade lines. So if you don't have 2 or 3 trade lines on your credit report, don't worry. We can add alternative trade lines to your credit report. It's more important that you have a score. If you don't have a score, that's okay. But if you have a low score, that's when we need to address things. Okay, we need to look at things and say, okay, can we adjust credit utilization to get a quick spike, or do we need to add some credit, secured cards, secured loans, or authorized users? Or if the scores are, maybe below 500 or below 520 or even 540, maybe we need to send some letters out and start disputing some items too, depending upon what they are. If you're at that spot, I always tell people, please schedule a call with me. Happy to go over your situation and tell you exactly what I would do if I were in your shoes. Okay, so the do's. So once we get that credit report, we want to see if we need to possibly increase your lines of credit or pay down the lines of credit to get that utilization below 30%. Remember, we want to pay the balances down. We don't want to pay them off or pay them off to zero, okay? If we have the ability to ask someone to become an authorized user, that's still a powerful tool and works 90% of the time. And if we don't have any credit at all, we want to look at opening up a secured card or a secured loan as soon as possible. And I'm going to go over those in detail in a few minutes. Now, if we don't have any credit or any positive credit, we can build alternative trade lines. Okay. I had a gentleman a couple of months ago, 0 credit scores, never had credit. He's actually engaged, and him and his fiance were living in mom's basement. And mom was wanted them to go get a house. So she was pushing them along the path. He didn't have anything showing up on his credit, but he did have 3 different gaming subscriptions that were paid on a monthly basis for over a year. PlayStation, Xbox, and I think it was like a Worldcraft or something like that. So he had 3 different subscriptions that were like $19.95, $9.95, $29.95, all taken out every month for the last 12 months out of his bank account or off of his debit card. All we have to do is get 12-month statements, bank statements showing that coming out, and we were able to get that added to his credit report. Okay. He didn't have any credit scores, so we do have programs that work for people with no credit scores. So keep that in mind. So we call those alternative trade lines, and we can use things like rent, cell phone bills, and I'll go through a longer list in just a few minutes. Any collection accounts over $2,000 that we think are going to have to be paid, we might want to set up payment arrangements for those before we connect you with a lender. Okay, just to show that you're proactive on dealing with those things. The things that we don't want to do, we don't want to apply for new credit unless we know you're going to get it. And right now, there's no guarantees. Okay. So the last thing you want to do is go out to Credit Karma and start shotgunning applications everywhere and everybody peeking into your credit. And that doesn't help you. Okay. And like I said earlier, don't blindly pay off your collections. If you blindly pay off your collections, like I said, it's going to reactivate some of those old collections and drop your scores next month. Okay, so it's over 2 years, leave it alone. If the underwriter, that's the person that approves your loan, comes back and says, hey, I want a solution on this collection over 2 years ago, that's fine. We can usually deal with it. But once we get your credit score lifted up to where we need it to be, so if we get your credit score from a 560 to a 620 and we pull your credit, that credit score is good for 120 days. So if we get you approved on that score and a lender comes back and says, oh, we're going to approve you subject to you taking care of this, $1,000 collection account, that's fine. We can take care of that collection. We don't care if the score goes down because your score's locked in for that 120 days. Okay, so there's kind of an art to it. And like I said, don't pay off credit card balances to zero, and don't prematurely pay off any loans, and don't become an authorized user on any new accounts or accounts with any late payments. So be selective with who you talk to with regards to becoming an authorized user on their account. And the one thing that I get asked at least 2 or 3 times a week, debt consolidation. Okay. There's 2 different types of debt consolidation. If you have the ability to go to your credit union or whatever company, and they can take all your credit cards, put it together in one loan, and you make payments on that loan, that's basically a debt consolidation loan. Okay. There are companies out there they call themselves debt consolidation services. Never, ever use them. Okay. I've found maybe one that's legit, and they're hard to get into. And they are surfacing now because the credit market is deteriorating at such a rapid rate. What the debt consolidation service companies do, and I'll explain it in detail so people can understand and tell others about this. What they do is they take all your debts and they say, you know what, stop paying all your creditors. We'll put them on notice that you are now in debt consolidation. We want you to send all your payments to us from now on. So you're going to send your money to the debt consolidation service company. Okay. They collect your payments for 6 months, and your creditors just sit there and wait patiently and don't do anything other than put notice on your credit reports that you are now in debt consolidation. Okay. Now, if you're in debt consolidation and it shows up on your credit report, that's the same as being in bankruptcy. Lenders look like you are in Chapter 13 reconstruction bankruptcy without the bankruptcy court protection. In the meantime, your creditors are not happy because they're not getting paid. They know what goes on. And they're negotiating the balances down with your creditors. That's good. But the debt consolidation company is collecting your payments for 6 months. And about the time where your original creditor gets so fed up with it where he's like, they're just going to sue you for the balance, that's when the debt consolidation companies start to pay them. So the debt consolidation companies collect their money first. So for the first 6 months that you're sending payments, you're doing nothing but paying the debt consolidation companies. Okay. If you are in that kind of spot, I always say, bankruptcy is a reset. It's a business tool. Treat your personal life like a business. Okay. I would rather see someone go into a Chapter 13 bankruptcy and at least have the bankruptcy court protection than to do debt consolidation services, because in the lending world, they treat you the same exact way. Okay. All right. Let's go into the credit building tools. This is the stuff that you're going to use to get that quick spike. We talked about credit utilization being a way to get a quick spike in your score. Here are other things that you can do. You can open up a secured credit card. Okay. Great tools. Credit unions offer these. Go out to Credit Karma. Capital One does a good job with these. Basically what it is you send them $300, $500. They're going to send you a credit card with a $300 to $500 limit. It's important you use it just as quickly as you receive it. So it forces them to set the card up and get your data pushed out to the credit bureaus. Typically, you want to try to keep that balance below 30%. Okay. If possible, pay it down as low immediately just to keep that low balance. You can get your credit scores up 20 to 30 points in 30 to 60 days. Next one, secured loans, one of the best tools out there. Credit unions do an incredible job at this. They actually have tools where you can actually get a secured loan. And what it is, you give a credit union or secured loan company a deposit. So I work with Michigan First Credit Union. I think they do a fantastic job at this. You give them $525. They charge $25 to do it. What they do is they take the $500 and they put it in a savings account and lock it down so you can't touch it. That's the security for the loan. Then they give you a loan for $500 and plop $500 in your checking account. So when you go online to look at your account, it's going to show you got $500 in savings that you can't touch, and you got $500 in your checking. Then you're going to pay that loan off over 6 months. They're going to take $80 a month out of your checking account. And once it's paid off after 6 months, they release the $500 in your checking account. You get the money, or a savings account. You get that right back. The benefits of these are they report it to all three credit bureaus. Number one. Number two, they report it as a personal line of credit, which is one of the hardest things to get. So I find people that do it are getting bounces in about 45 to 90 days of 40 to 60 points in their credit scores. Great tool. So if you have a thin credit profile, and that just means you don't have a lot of credit, pick up a secured card, pick up a secured loan. In 90 days, you are going to be in a totally different spot. Chances are 60 days, you're going to be in a great spot where you can get something done. Those two maneuvers right there will easily push your credit scores up 60 points. Okay, next item. That wasn't the next item. There we go. Authorized users. Okay, great tool. Okay, you're not asking for money. If you have a friend that has really good credit, has a lot of low balance, high limit on their credit cards, good payment history, and a seasoned account, and that just means it's been out there for a while, it's not as tough to ask people as you would think. You're not asking for money, you're just asking for a little help. And usually I find the conversation goes something like this. It could be, John, hey, I need some help. I actually got approved for a loan, but I need one more trade line showing up on my credit. Is there any way that you could add me as an authorized user to one of your credit cards? I don't need any money. I don't even need the credit card. I just need some of that credit juice that you've built up that will push over to my credit so I can get approved for this down payment assistance program so my family and I can buy a house. It's just a phone call. All you got to do is pick up and have me added to the card. Like I said, they don't even have to send me a card. So, who wouldn't want to help out a friend or family member with that? Now, there are some companies out there that sell that type of service. Don't do it. Okay. I find that it's just not worth it. Okay. There are companies that will put you on as an authorized user for $400 or $500 for 60 days. The thing is, we're kind of threading a needle with regards to our timing and how quickly we need to close and things like that. I don't find that there's only a couple of companies that are left doing it, but I just don't find it as a legitimate service. And I would rather see somebody just go get a secured card and do it the right way and wait a couple more months. Alternative trade lines. Remember earlier I said someone without any credit scores can build credit. So rent history, auto insurance, PO box payments, storage units payments, cable bills, cell phone bills, renter's insurance, utility bills, subscriptions like Netflix, gaming, gym memberships, all of these things, if they are paid, automatically paid through a debit card or your checking account or something like that, if we can get 12 months statements, we can get this added to your credit report to give you a trade line. So there are ways to build credit. It's a little bit of work, but that's what we're here for. Next thing, credit monitoring services. I'm a big believer in this stuff. I'm always about the free stuff. Credit Karma is great. Go out there, find out where your credit scores are. Keep in mind, Credit Karma uses the Vantage score. They don't use the FICO score. So their credit scores are not the same. So it's a little bit misleading. Their scores are typically about 20 points higher on average than in the FICO world. So don't rely on those scores. But the other information they give is great. What things you have on your credit, what negatives there are, when companies report, things like that. Okay. Experian. So Credit Karma covers TransUnion and Equifax, and then Experian.com obviously gives you the Experian credit. Those two are a must. You want to have all three credit bureaus. If you have any difficulty getting in there, there's always Credit Sesame or Credit Hero. And then credit restoration services like Lexington Law, National Credit Care. I don't even hear them anymore. AI is like wiping that industry out. Thank God. I feel like they are predatory. They just put people on this hamster wheel, collect their money, and do minimal amount of efforts to get people. I mean, there was a time that where they were really a good benefit, but not anymore. Nowadays, you can go out to freeannualcreditreport.com, get your credit report, download it. Then you can actually upload it to artificial intelligence and ask it, hey, here's my credit report. Please take all the negative information and suggest a game plan to attack or approach or discuss all the negative issues out there. And then you can ask it to write the letters on your behalf, reciting any, legal codes or jargon in those letters to send to the credit bureaus, and address the letters to the credit bureaus with the dispute address on it. And it'll create the whole letter for you. You print them out, send them in, registered or receipt mail. And it's just, why would you pay a couple of $100s a month when you can do all of that yourself? And it's free through, ChatGPT or Claude. There are a few other ones, but no reason to pay for that yourself. All right, so where do we go from here? I always tell people, go to my free webinars, okay? Getting these credit scores up it's not rocket science, okay? Very easy for us to get your scores up 60 points in 60 days. First thing you want to do, schedule a call with me. Go to my website, Own the Roof, book a call. Always happy to coach you. And I don't charge anything for this. This is all free service. I've just been in this industry long enough to know how to attack it and how to deal with these things. And all I ask is when it comes time to looking for a home, that my team and I are there. We'll help connect you with the different down payment assistance programs and grants across the country. So the first step is going to be schedule a call. No commitment, no charge, just like to get to know each other. And then we can formulate a game plan for you to get you and your family on the road to home ownership. Okay. Now, after that, once we get the credit in order, there is my website, Own the Roof, where to find grants, down payment assistance programs, things like that. All of this is all free resources here. We have publications. Okay. It's going to take you to the Amazon store. You don't need to. Okay. If you want a copy of my book, just text me. I'll put my phone number in here. 248-252-7283. Boom. Text me your email address. I'll send you a free copy. We go over how to structure deals, how to get in and how to purchase with no money down using down payment assistance programs and grants. Oh, and we help you figure out how to pay the closing costs too. Most of the people I work with buy homes with just a couple of $1,000s out of pocket. Okay. And then I've also wrote another book called No Credit, No Problem. And obviously it's based on a lot of the stuff that you're learning here today. The other items that we have, Zero Down Scout, that's our application. If you want to see what programs are out there, you can go out to the Apple Play or Google Apple Store or Google Play Store, download our app. You can see all the different programs that are available across the country. Right now, we have a database of over 3,000. And then, of course, you can book a call through here. or register for my Zero Down webinars where I teach people how to actually use these programs, how to find them, identify them, structure the deals for each specific house. And then I also have free courses in here where I probably have 6 hours of video on the no down payment, how to purchase with no money down, tapping into the different DPA programs. I also have a course on how to get your credit scores up. That's about 4 hours, a lot more advanced than this, hour-long webinar. And then most importantly, I've got a third course, which is how to structure the transactions. Okay. Tapping into the down payment assistance programs and grants is the easier part for me. There's a little bit of detail and more advanced maneuvers with regards to getting your closing costs taken care of through seller credits, seller concessions, or lender credits. That's an advanced maneuver. Lenders actually have credits that you can request to pay some of your closing costs, and I teach you how to do that. So that's probably about a 2-hour course. These are all digital courses. Just take them at your own pace. I don't know if we really do as good a job with our events page. We need to tighten that up a little bit. But once you register for a lot of these, we'll have your information and we'll send you texts whenever we're doing some of our major events. So, for example, our next one, I think I have a Zero Down event coming up April 22nd. You know what? It says 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I need to change that. It's actually going to be at 7 p.m. I do them in the evening. So need to make a note of that. All right. So with that being said, let's see what kind of questions we have here. I have someone saying I'm sorry to hear that. Lost my wallet and someone stole it and had to a DL and bank card and you know what you want to do, Mela Pool, is you want to actually go out to the credit bureaus as soon as possible and put a freeze on your accounts. That way, no one can open credit. Okay, so go out to freeannualcreditreport.com or, I would even go out and Google how to freeze my credit accounts. So to lose your card is one thing. To lose your Social Security card, that's not good. So get those accounts frozen. Sonola Horton, good morning. Yes, Sonola, I put the schedule a call right in there. Please book a call with me. Happy to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes. So, and give you a path to getting that credit score up. Any questions about any of the down payment assistance programs? All right. Okay, so my contact information. You can always reach me at John@OwnTheRoof. That's JOHN@OwnTheRoof, or my cell phone number, which is 248-252-7283. I do the credit building webinars once a month live. You can always catch a lot of my webinars on YouTube. We have a pretty good library out there. I tend to stream it to Facebook, hold it for about 30 days. I'm not sure about LinkedIn, but YouTube, it's indefinite. So if you want to ever have a hard time sleeping, go to my YouTube channel, pick up some of the old live event stuff. I'm sure that'll put you to sleep after a little while. So, all right. Well, it is now approaching 9:50 on Saturday morning. Hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday. I don't like to go any longer than 50 minutes. I find that that's where my attention span is on some of these, unless we start getting into my down payment assistance, and then I can go on for hours with those. But do not think that credit is about perfection. We just need to get your situation, put you in the strike zone. So right now, if your credit score is above a 580, there are quite a few options available to purchase with no money down. And there are a lot of tools at our fingertips, levers to pull, buttons to push to get those closing costs taken care of. So I always tell people it's not about money. Money is the easiest part for me. So whether you're thinking 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, doesn't matter to me. Book a call. always happy to learn everyone's situation, put myself in your shoes, and tell you exactly what I would do. So thanks for carving out the time on a Saturday morning, and hope our paths cross again soon. Have a good day, everyone. Goodbye.